Well, we made it through another game week of the Premier League football season, and we were in for some absolute cracking matches at the weekend, weren't we? Whether it be Chelsea stuffing West Ham away from home on Friday night, to Arsenal winning 5-0 at home to Leeds, and there was a surprise result at lunchtime on Saturday as well. But we'll get into all the games now as we discuss the Game Week 2 review. So first up, let's talk about that Friday night game, Chelsea versus West Ham, because whilst no one expected West Ham to get anything from that game, to lose 5-1 at home, especially when going 1-0 up at the start, it's just not good enough. And they conceded several goals through set pieces as well, which in the Premier League, you just don't expect that, do you? So it's not looking good for Graham Potter. His position as manager is under serious pressure right now. And yeah, they're going to have to turn things around quickly, that's for sure. But of course, we have to talk about Chelsea because they were really good. Super organised. Maresca's got them playing a certain style of football, and they never felt worried when they went 1-0 down. There was no panicking, no urgency. They just went about their game and obviously, picked off West Ham with ease in the end. There were some really good performances in there as well. You had Estevao playing on the wing, young 18-year-old kid. He's just got no fear. He is a real talent from Brazil, and obviously João Pedro getting his first goal in the league for Chelsea. That's massive. Pedro Neto chipping in. Obviously with the set pieces you had Caicedo toe poking his goal, and even Trevor Chalobah as well, the centre-half, nicked a goal. Yeah, I don't think they're going to be winning 5-1 every week, but it certainly helps away from home to build confidence. Now, saying that, Cole Palmer did go down with an injury in the warm-up. We don't know the seriousness of that yet, how long he'll be out for, but that's not great for them. But to go on and score 5 goals without him is, fair play to them. Really, really good performance from Chelsea. So moving on to that Saturday kickoff, and who saw this result coming? Because Tottenham Hotspur beat Man City 2-0 away from home, and in the end it was relatively convincing. They were solid in defence. Christian Romero and Van de Ven just seemed impenetrable. They just could not get through City. And look, this is what we saw a little bit of last season with Man City. They have a lot of the ball, yes, but they just don't seem to be creative enough to get through unlock defences. And the fact that they let someone like Jack Grealish go, who is great at doing that, I don't know, they never seem to give the guy a chance, did they? But Pep has his style, he's very stubborn, and right now he's struggling. And it's really funny, isn't it? Because last week when they battered Wolves, everyone thought City were back, but clearly not. And Thomas Frank has got Spurs playing some really good stuff at the minute. Because not only are they great at defending at the back, they're now really good at pressing at the front line. That's how they nicked one of their goals on the day, with James Trafford gifting them a goal. But it's down to tactics and that pressure. And Frank was doing this so well for Brentford. He was a thorn in a lot of the big teams' games, in those games with Brentford. And it's because of his pressing. So I think Tottenham are going to be a dark horse this year. I do not think they're going to be challenging for the title, but dark horse for European places, which is fantastic considering they finished 17th last year, which is clearly not good enough for that squad. But look, he's not got the deepest squad, and they've got the Champions League this year as well, so we'll see what happens there. So moving on to the 3 o'clock kickoffs. First up, we'll talk about the Bournemouth-Wolves game. The truth is I didn't actually see this game. I've not actually seen any highlights, but I've read the match report, and look, I think Bournemouth are a well-drilled team. I think they're going to be more than safe this year, which is far cry from what everyone's been saying in the summer because they've lost some of their star players. But in reality, they've not lost the manager, and he knows how to get these group of players playing, and they've hopefully found a couple of gems in the transfer market as well. So they're going to be a tough team to beat, like the Fulhams, the Brightons, mid-table. I don't expect much more from them than that. But yeah, finally they've got a result in the Premier League, beating Wolves 1-0 at home. They need to be scoring more goals than that. But once they start getting people like Evan Nielsen scoring, I think they'll be fine. As for Wolves, not good enough. I think they're going to be down there this season. I think they're going to be in the relegation scrap. And yes, they've lost Cunha, they've lost Ayanori, they've lost Semedo at right back. It shows. Like, they were poor against City, and they were pretty poor against Bournemouth as well. A team that they beat away from home last season. So, yeah, tough times for Pereira and his men, but hopefully they can start racking up some results, get some points on the board, because the promoted sides have already started winning, and we're only in week 2. So, yeah, let's see what happens with Wolves this year. Okay, so moving on to Brentford versus Villa, and yeah, this result doesn't surprise me. Brentford won 1-0. Villa are in a slump right now. I think the lack of transfer activity, I said this in my last episode, but for game week 1, but having that lack of a spark, like just nothing going on at Villa right now. Everyone is just talking negatively about them. They've clearly got no money to spend because of financial fair play, which is causing problems for a lot of teams, not just Villa. But high wages, lower income just means that they just don't have any cash to spend. And so, yeah, tough times for Villa. They really need to start getting some wins on the board. But it's only week 2, so, you know, I'm sure they'll be fine. They're not going to be in a relegation scrap or anything. But I thought Brentford were going to be. And that was because they've lost Thomas Frank, who's an absolute magician coach. He's obviously at Spurs. And they've lost Brian Mbeumo to Man United. But they may have found their answer in Ouattara. And look, he was on the bench for Bournemouth last year, which just again shows how good Bournemouth were with their recruiting. They've just had so many good players in that squad who've obviously gone from last year. But yeah, spent a lot of money on this guy, reserve striker for Bournemouth, and yeah, he's still, you know, debut goal. He's absolutely rapid, by the way. And yeah, I think, look, I was a bit harsh on Keith Andrews last week, and it's early days for him as a manager, but they do have a lot of their squad from last year. They still have Damsgaard, they still have much of their defenders, and they've got a decent goalkeeper in Kelleher from Liverpool. I don't think they're going to be as bad as everyone thought they were going to be, which includes myself. I thought they were going to be pretty poor, especially if they can get results at home against the bigger sides. Yes, it'll be a scrap against the relegation people, but I think, yeah, it was an interesting game, and Villa just didn't seem to have any answers for them. So possibly if they've got a decent structure about them, Brentford will be okay, but Villa need to start up in their game, and fast. Next, we'll talk about Burnley, because they were able to beat Sunderland at home 2-0. Massive result for Burnley. They're off the mark, 3 points on the board, and they can breathe now, because when you're just getting beat week in, week out in the Premier League, especially early on, it can be really difficult, and the fans can get on your back pretty fast. So, yeah, I think Turf Moor is going to have to be a fortress for them this year if they've got any chance of staying up. But, yeah, they put Sunderland in their place after a great result last week. And, yeah, they even lost Ballard as well. He went down to an injury, one of their heroes from the week before. But, yeah, Burnley, here we go. 3 points on the board. I still don't think they're going to stay up. I'm sorry, they just don't have enough for me going forward. But if they can keep clean sheets, who's to say that they don't end up staying up because of someone like Wolves or West Ham having such a bad year? So let's see how it goes. Okay, so the 5:30 kickoff on Saturday was Arsenal versus Leeds, and we ended up winning the game 5-0, which was just a massive result for us. Gyokeres off the mark, getting a brace on the day, which was one of those was a penalty, but it felt so good to see him score. Yeah, we need our striker banging in goals, and you've got to get him you've got to get him going early, haven't you? You've got to get that momentum, build that confidence, and he's a confident boy. I really like him. I rate him. He looks strong. He's winning all his duels in the air, and yeah, I'm really hopeful that this year we're right up there for the challenging for the title, and hopefully we win it. A few other things to point out. There were some brilliant performances from Timber at right back. Zubimendi was solid in midfield. Saka scored, but if you've watched the game, you've seen the highlights, you will have noticed that Saka went down with an injury. Man, another injury for Saka. It's just tough, and it looks like a hamstring, so he could be out for several weeks. And Odegaard as well. Odegaard, he went down with some sort of shoulder injury. Man, Arsenal do seem to get hit with injuries. They've obviously lost Kai Havertz as well in training. So, yeah, tough times there. And they're all the midfielders as well, so not great. But look, we've got a really strong squad right now. And we've just got Eze in as well from Crystal Palace. Really excited to see him play. In fact, when I recorded Game Week's 1 reaction last week, I thought Eze was going to Spurs. So I'm so happy that he's coming to Arsenal. He's an absolute quality player. He should hopefully slot in on the left. Madueke now will move on to the right. But we've still got Martinelli. We've got options, Trossard as well. It's exciting times for Arsenal. And Arteta's built a really good team, but we've got to start winning trophies. And soon, very, very soon, this season, we have to win something. Oh, and I do want to give a shout out to Max Daumann as well. Look, he's an absolute stud, isn't he? 15 years of age, getting his debut for Arsenal, coming off the bench and winning as a penalty. He's just got so much confidence. When I was 15, I was just playing games on the Xbox. This guy's he's coming on for Arsenal, and he's going to be pushing for a place in the team. He's not even done his GCSEs, for God's sake, but what a talent. And this is what Arsenal do, right? We bring through young players, give them a chance for a career in football, whether it be Miles Skelly at left back, obviously Max Daumann there on the wing or in midfield, Wanyeri as well. We've just got so much talent, haven't we? So hopefully we can keep these guys in the team, build up some confidence, some experience, whether that's just coming off the bench, playing in cup games. It's really important. Moving on to Sunday's games, we had a balanced draw between Palace and Forest. Look, both sides cancelled each other out on the day, and they're two good teams. I think Palace, yes, they're losing Eze, potentially Mark Gay at centre-half as well. Forest have managed to keep hold of some of their stars, with Gibbs White signing his new contract, Chris Wood up front. It was a scrappy game and a real challenge, but I think the biggest takeaway of the game was actually pre-match, and that's with Nuno, the manager of Forest, revealing that his relationship with the owner was fractured following their spat at the end of last season. And look, I like Nuno. I think sometimes he comes across a little bit soft in his press conferences, and yeah, it seems to me that he's not happy. And he's actually talking about it. He's revealing that in the press conference, and fair play to him. Hopefully they can figure it out, because he's done a really good job there, and they've built a really good squad, and they're in Europe this year, so you don't want him to be getting sacked over something like this. I think they need to just fix it, air things out, and get on with this season. One thing I will say about this Nuno Mariakis situation, and it's just looking at other sports in other countries. Certainly with American football and the NFL, there's a team called the Dallas Cowboys, who are America's team. They get tons of attention in the press, in the media, and look, they're not one of the best teams right now, but they get attention because of their owner. Their owner is creating talking points, and so they end up debating on all the sports shows. Everyone's talking about it, TV, radio, newspapers, and that's only going to be a good thing for getting the team awareness, more eyeballs watching their games, so they can charge more money to sponsors. So don't be shocked if this Nuno Mariakis thing is all about drumming up some press, some media for them, because look, we've had teams get in Europe before. They come, they go, where they have a really good season, and then the following year they just fall out. The only way you're going to climb to the next level is more eyeballs following your team, so you're going to need more press coverage, and that should hopefully then bring you in some more money, whether it be fans spending money buying merchandise or sponsors. And you can only get that through, like I say, through the media. So don't be shocked if this whole Mariakis thing is all about doing a Jerry Jones for the Dallas Cowboys. That's just an interesting take that I've got on it all, but yeah, don't be shocked. Now, there was a feel-good story at the weekend. Everton in their brand new stadium, first game at home, and Ndiaye made history, scoring the first ever goal in the stadium. Thank God it was an Everton player, not Brighton, their opposition for the day. And look, Brighton did not make this game easy for them. Everton won out 2-0 on the day, but it could have been a different result had Brighton took their chances. They hit the woodwork a couple of times as well. So Everton definitely rode their luck, but what a time to have that luck. First game of the season at home in their new stadium. I'm buzzing for them. And Jack Grealish, who I gave a mention to last week, he's seemingly back, isn't he? He's back to playing football, enjoying his football. That can only be a good thing for Everton and the Premier League. He came up with 2 assists on the day, and he's naturally going to just draw defenders out to him. He's so good on the ball. It's what City need right now, if I'm honest, Man City, but they let him go. But hopefully he can play a big role for Everton this season and maybe get back in the England squad as well. And then the other game we need to mention is Fulham United, which was a 1-1 draw in the end. Fair result, possibly, but only because Man United missed a penalty. Bruno Fernandes skied it into the top of the stand. Absolutely shocking from him. But I'm not going to lie, Fulham were the better side. They played some good football, and it's interesting, isn't it? Last week, Man United played so well at home against Arsenal. Everyone thought they turned a leaf, turned a corner, but they seemingly back to the same old issues again, whether it be at the back with the defenders or their front line just not quite figuring things out, not connecting very well with the midfield. Yeah, they've got issues, Man United, and it's going to be a long season for them, a lot of growing pains, and it might not all be with this current manager, because for me, I'm just not sure about Amorim. I think we've had a big sample size of him now, haven't we? And he's just not winning games. Even if you're not playing well, when you're a big side, you've got to win games. At least Ten Hag was winning some games. He won a cup, for God's sake. And yes, Amorim was close to winning a cup last year in the Europa League, but it's a new season and they need to start scoring goals. They need to start winning games. They're not there yet, but it's only game week 2. Hopefully Mbuemo and Cunha can start to gel with Sesko, who they seemingly can't get in the side right now. But yeah, like I say, early days, but the cracks are already starting to show, aren't they? As for Fulham, yeah, no surprise really. I think they've not made that many transfers in the summer window, as far as I can recall, but they've got a good squad. I mean, that first 11's decent. It's definitely mid-table, pushing for European places, and then their bench is solid as well. So I'm not worried about Fulham at all. I think they're a great team, and they're probably going to kick themselves not winning the game, and actually not getting a free kick for Bassi getting a shove from Euro. That was Man United's goal from a set piece. It looked like a clear foul to me. So they'll feel hard done by. But yeah, I think they'll be fine this year. Definitely not going to be anywhere near the relegation zone anyway. And so there's one more game to come, and that's tonight. Newcastle versus Liverpool. And in that game, there's going to be blood, because it's the battle of Isak. Will he stay? Will he go? I don't think that's going to be decided from this fixture, but the fans are going to be so up for this game. And you better believe there's going to be a lot of chants about Isak in this game as well. Hopefully the Newcastle players can keep their composure and not get into trouble with the referee, especially early on in the game, because everyone's going to be up for it. They're going to be fired up. And yeah, hopefully Newcastle can scrape a result. Being an Arsenal fan, we don't want Liverpool winning games like this. We want them to be under the cosh and making mistakes. So I'll be watching, I'll be tuning in, hoping for the best for Newcastle. And yeah, this Isak thing rumbles on, doesn't it? I think everyone's been talking about it for so long. The reality is he's going to cost a hell of a lot of money. And I just don't know if Liverpool are going to be willing to cough up that much for a centre-forward, especially when Ekitike, their other striker that they signed, scored in his debut, scored in the Charity Shield as well. They've got a good squad, haven't they? I don't think they necessarily need Isak, but he would be a luxury item if they could get him. So let's see what happens. I'm excited for the game. And yeah, game week 2 in the bag. So looking at game week 3 fixtures, I have highlighted 3 games there. You've got Man United Burnley. Now I think Yes, it's a 3 o'clock kickoff, but I do believe there's going to be a lot of eyeballs watching that game, at least following it on the internet, TalkSport and whatnot, because Man United need 3 points. They need to start winning games, otherwise it's bye Amarin for me. And Burnley won't be easy to beat, so it'd be interesting to see that one. Another one obviously is Brighton hosting Man City. We thought City were back. We thought they were going to be the City of old, but Brighton is not an easy fixture. Potentially they're going to be 50-50 split on possession in that game. So let's see what happens there. Be an interesting game to watch. And then obviously Super Sunday, Liverpool hosting Arsenal. I think a lot depends on how Monday night goes, how tonight goes. If Liverpool lose, then you better believe Liverpool can be up for that game against Arsenal to get back in the hunt of things, get back in the swing of things. But if Liverpool win tonight, then yeah, I think it could be an interesting game. Hopefully open. Slot is seemingly going for it this year, and we are too. We've got some great attacking players, good squad. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that game, and obviously we've had 2 clean sheets so far as well of Arsenal, so Liverpool, it won't be easy for them. So yeah, I'm really excited to see what happens there. But yeah, every game's great in the Premier League, isn't it? It is so much fun, and yeah, I just can't wait for the weekend to come around again. But yeah, let me know what you think. Was there any surprise results at the weekend in game week 2? Any standout performances that you want to chat about in the comments? I'll be there. And yeah, if you're interested in this kind of content, you want to see more throughout the season, do hit the subscribe button. And I'm also on TikTok as well, putting bite-sized clips out there all about the Premier League. So do follow me there. It's Football Talk Up North. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.